You are listening to the Paranormal Chronicles radio show. Here are your hosts, G.L. Davies and Dave Dominguez.
And welcome back everyone to part 2 of our Bigfoot special. I'm Gavin Lee Davis, founder of the Paranormal Chronicles, joined by my wonderful friend and co-host Dave Dominguez, all the way in El Paso, Texas. How are you tonight, Dave?
I'm doing great, Gavin. How about yourself?
Very good. I was so thrilled and delighted with the response we got for the first Bigfoot episode. It was our launch title. We weren't sure how it would be received, and it was fantastic. Now, if you haven't heard that already, head over. It is Tpcn Bigfoot. It's part 1. It's called Bigfoot the Evidence. Absolutely great photographs and experiences from the likes of Keith Bearden, the author of Forest Friends of the Night, and Kevin Malek, the founder of Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society. So pop over and see them as well, because they have such a wealth of knowledge on the subject. Did you expect it to be this popular, Dave?
You know what? I knew it was a popular show, and I knew we were going to have some great content. But I didn't expect such a great outpouring of people and great comments from everyone who listened to the show. So far, we've got a good amount of followers, good amount of views. So I'm grateful to everybody who's listened and who's taken the time to listen in. And it's very interesting information that's on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you so much for everyone who took the time to view the show, to subscribe and like, because without you, we can't do the show. So how better way could we follow up that great first show by producing a second show, which not only do we have another great guest, but also the guest has kindly allowed us to exclusively show you some footage of a strange creature. Now, we don't want to say it's Bigfoot. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, you can make your own mind up. Now, me and Dave are going to have a chat about that. And then following that, the gentleman who provided the footage, he didn't record the footage, it was given to him. We're going to speak to Dale Boswell. Now, Dale Boswell is a huge knowledge and personality in the Bigfoot field, and a country and western singer. He's got the most amazing voice ever, guys, and you have to hear his experiences, not just on Bigfoot. You really have to hear this interview with Dale Boswell, because not only does he have a huge amount of knowledge on Bigfoot, but also so many ideas and theories on the paranormal, and him and Dave really get to the nitty-gritty of that. Did you enjoy conducting that interview with Dale?
Oh, absolutely. It was a fascinating interview. Dale's a fascinating individual. He actually runs the Bigfoot Society over in his part of Alabama, and he's ran it for many years. He's actually had Bigfoot sightings just right outside his back door, and so have other people, his neighbors, his family. Recently, he sent me a photograph of a Bigfoot print that he found 15 feet from his back door. It was just a few days old when he discovered it. And he's a wealth of knowledge, fascinating individual. Like you said, has a great voice, great singing voice. He's also met probably every single major country western singer and celebrity there is, and he has great stories about that as well. But it's a fascinating interview, very interesting.
Oh, definitely,
Really
they're going to love it. Now, a bit more controversially, let's have a look at this video. I'm going to just put it on for everyone to have a look at. Now, at the Paranormal Chronicles Network, we're not here to tell you what things are. We're here to just present them to you, and in your own fashion, in your own ways, you make up your own decisions, make your own mind up. So Dale was given, as I'm correct, he was given this footage by someone who's anonymous. We're claiming a strange creature. Now, I know it's a Bigfoot special, but one of the names linked to this creature is Bigfoot. Now, some people have said Dogman, some people said a bear, some people said a man in a suit. Now, looking at this footage now, Dave, what do you think? What's your initial impressions?
Well, initial impressions, as you know, it's kind of a little bit fuzzy. You can see something, an animal. At first, it gives you the impression that it could be maybe a bear, sitting. But then when you look at it, it looks like part of it has the head of a sloth, and then the body of a bear, but its arms are really long, like an ape or gorilla, whatever, what have you. The person, I believe, they said that it's possibly a Bigfoot that it killed an animal. It's carrying it over its shoulder. That's why it has the head of a sloth. Maybe it's hanging over its shoulder.
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the theories I heard was, am I looking at a bear? I thought, was the bear maybe sat down with his legs extended out? But then the legs are bent backwards. You can see his feet. So he's actually kneeling down. Now, one of the theories, like yourself, Dave, is that it has an animal carcass on its shoulder and it's rooting around for, I don't know, grubs, roots, vegetables, I don't know. But it's something of interest on the forest floor. Now, obviously, this could be just a guy in a suit, okay? So let's not get too excited. But the fact that the video's anonymous, it's a bit of mystery shrouding this. The person who made this video, they could be cashing in on books, films, news coverage, website hits, YouTube hits, all of that kind of thing. It's very interesting that they do wish to remain anonymous. Why do you think that could be?
Well, probably for that, or probably because they don't want to bring any undue publicity on themselves, maybe called crazy or what have you, or an opportunist, as you say.
I don't know. It's just, if it's a man in a suit, it's really well done, because if you look at the definition and the muscles on the shoulder going into the arm, the forearms, it seems to have a forearm. Now, since I've received this footage, I've looked at dozens of bear videos, and I can see similarities, but at the same time, it does seem to be more ape-like. Now, I would only imagine that is a carcass on its shoulder. I don't think that is the head. I don't think, people are going to speculate things like Dogman, a new creature, a hybrid creature of some description, but it does look really ape-like.
Yes, it does. And a bear's not going to sling something over its shoulder and walk off with it or sit around with it. So, and the way it's sitting, you look at it, a bear's really not going to sit that way. And it's not going to fling something over his shoulder, and it's not going to be rubbing around on the ground with it. It's going to take it with him. I don't know about anybody else, but I've never seen a bear drag your deer carcass over his shoulder and walk away. Because
we don't get bears in Wales, not that I know of. And in North America, it's very commonplace for you to have bear activity. Some of them have them in your neighborhoods or on your doorsteps. We got to put into place where this photo was taken. Is it a North American woods, or is it possibly something like a gorilla in Africa or Himalayas or something like that with a carcass on its back? Because again, I'm not an expert on apes, and anybody out there listening, watching this today, if you have any ideas, whether you think this is a hoax, whether you think this is real, maybe it's just a normal animal doing normal animal business, or if you've got some wild theories and speculations on what it could be, let us know, because as we said, this show's for you. It's about interaction, sharing thoughts, experiences about the paranormal.
Yes, I agree. And to me, it looks kind of like, with the head the way it is, looks kind of like a sloth type of creature, but like you said, it could be anywhere. It could have been taken anywhere, anytime, and it's kind of hard to see the size reference-wise, because there's really not a whole lot put a reference to the size. But I think that we can let the listeners, decide for themselves, take a look at it, decide for themselves, and see what they think, and leave a message for us and see what they think about it.
Yeah, leave something in the comments, or you can email us at paranormalchronicles@aim.com. You can find us on Facebook at theparanormalchronicles.com. You can get in touch with Dave as well at Event Horizon Online Radio on Facebook, and just let us know what you think. There's no right or wrong, is there? We're not here to force feed you some information and tell you it is definitely that. It could be just a normal animal. As people said, it might be just a bear. I think what we need to do now is to actually speak to the man himself, the man who was given this footage, the Bigfoot expert, who is Dale Boswell. Now, Dave, I understand you spoke to him a bit earlier in the year. Now, I also understand he gave us a little treat for after his interview. What was that, Dave?
Yeah, well, that was his Bigfoot song that he recorded a while back that he's still working on. So he was kind enough to share it with us.
So you've had the footage, guys. We've got the interview. If you are new to the Paranormal Chronicles Network, then please do subscribe. It really means the world to us that you are giving us your time, okay? We've got lots more stuff. We've got ghost photos coming up. Myself and Ashley Shannon are doing Hell Flicks, which is a look at all the terrible paranormal movies out there. Dave's got his own show debuting. He's already recorded some great interviews for that, and that's Event Horizon Online Radio Show. That's going to be coming up on the network as well. So subscribe now. Don't miss a thing. And I think it's time, Dave, to go and talk to Dale.
That's right. Let's take it away and just jump over into the interview. I'm glad you joined us today for a special edition of Event Horizon. We're glad to welcome back Mr. Dale Boswell as our special guest. Dale's a singer and songwriter from Phoenix City, Alabama, who wrote and recorded one of the greatest military tributes ever written, My Soldier's Prayers, which happened to be a personal favorite of the late, great Mr. George Jones. And, of course, since for listeners of the previous show, Dale's had a fascination with strange paranormal things, ghosts and cryptids, UFOs, Loch Ness, especially Bigfoot. Dale's been involved extensively Grizzly and Sasquatch research groups and conducts investigations on eyewitness reports and encounters in the area. Welcome back, Dale. Glad you could join us.
Well, hello, Dave. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
What's the latest on the Bigfoot area, Dale?
Well, the latest is fall. That's the big exciting thing, because that's statistics show that there are more sightings during the fall, more encounters. So people are starting to get out and start doing a little more squatching in their area, including myself. And it's hard to do during the summertime, especially when you get older in age and that heat. So I can't wait for the fall too. So it's my time when I like to get out and wander around in the bushes a little bit.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that the Bigfoots like to do that as well. They're wearing a fur coat, the whole time, so it's much cooler.
I would think so. That makes sense to me. Absolutely. Yep. So that's I'm sure they love fall, and that way they can hang around in the South a little bit. I don't they say they migrate from here to there. They're kind of like the coyotes and wolves and things. So.
But they're not known to hibernate, though.
No, I don't think they hibernate. I was reading something earlier today where some theories that think that they sort of like half hibernate during the winter time. You just kind of chill out, and they're not quite as active. I haven't read too much on that. Like say, until today, I just heard that theory, and I thought, that could make sense. I don't know.
But I don't know about like they're warm-blooded creatures. Well, I don't know. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah, it sure is, and and there's so many in all the states, especially in the South. There's so many caves. And things underground and old mines and things like that. So these there's no telling where these things go, or they hide out, or they chill out. I mean, they could be just in your backyard, and you wouldn't know it. And
well, in your case, you had one in your front yard.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Your daughter saw,
that was last year I think it was in July. Yeah.
Oh, that's odd.
A white one, matter of fact. Yeah.
Well, front yard. I didn't know white ones existed until you told me, until I found out from you.
They're getting to be quite common for some reason. Pennsylvania and Alabama and other areas, you're starting to hear reports and see some video of some apparitions or, alleged Bigfoot, not real good stuff, but it is something. And we don't know if they're albino or if maybe they're just older ones and it's more silvery than it is white looking, but maybe it appears to be white. And how something white can hide in the woods,
that's amazing.
I have no idea to start with,
Well, you don't think that's old age? They're older and they're turned gray like humans. Their hair turns gray.
Yeah, I have heard that, and I have seen some photos of alleged Bigfoots that were gray and salt and pepper. Of course, when they're young, they say they're really dark, really black. Then I don't know about if they change color as they get older, because some are an auburn reddish type color is one of your most common colors.
Yeah. I wonder how long they live, what their lifespan would be like. If it's comparable to like a mountain gorilla, which I think is like 46 years old, something like that.
I don't know if many studies have been done. I don't know how you even do a study like that. But it's, just speculation. I guess there have been some researchers that have found some footprints, and years later would find footprints that they thought looked identical to the ones, or they compared to the ones they would find a few years earlier. Yeah. And some that were really plain, you could really see actually see the dermal ridges, like your fingerprints.
Yes, but I don't think you can. Well, you can't really get the age of somebody from a fingerprint or a footprint or from their actual print that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe go by the wrinkles, maybe.
Well, I don't know if they're worn out, but they don't wear out though. I don't know, but that's amazing. I saw a documentary where they actually showed that they had ridges and everything, just like a human footprint or human fingerprint, So I guess
I think they go in the opposite direction of ours, though. If I remember correctly, is what's really so unique about it.
Maybe they're Australian.
Yeah, there's something. They could be. Yeah, I got some friends in Australia. I have to give my Yowie buddies a call and find out.
Yeah, well, I got family down there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So down under.
Yeah, we got some family down there because my wife's from New Zealand, so we got family down in New Zealand, family down in Australia, and all over the place.
I bet your family reunions are a doozy.
Oh yeah, I
have
would
a
imagine
translator.
so. I would imagine so. Well, my family here, it's pretty small. My wife has a very, very large family. That's I can imagine the family reunions would be something else. But yeah, the people down there, I've talked to a couple of people down there about the Yowie, and to them it's just take it for granted that there's something out there that exists. The Aborigines believed in them, and they do cave paintings and things of them and all that. So, it's not like people would think of you crazy down there if you claim to see one like they would here in the States. They think you odd or something or off kilter. Down there just taken for granted because people, I guess, are closer to nature, closer to, whatever down there.
I agree with you totally. They just accept it. And it's getting to be like that all over because it's getting to be so commonplace. And with the social media, then it's just not a big deal for somebody to have a sighting except us researchers.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people is just like, okay, yeah, well, that's cool, But,
and I think stuff like that's really exploded lately in the past few years. Become very popular. I think more now. If you were to say you actually saw something, people wouldn't look at you as odd, and like they would maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
So you're still going to get the odd look. You're still not something you want to let your employer know. But
and the kids are really, are the ones that fascinate me. And I've been asked to speak in a few schools, and I haven't set it up yet to some elementary kids because the teacher said they are so fascinated with the theory and the myth of Bigfoot. I guess because it's such a social thing. And I have talked to a few kids, and they are smart. It seemed like they were probably 3 or 4 years old, and they would tell me their theories on Bigfoot and what they thought it was.
Wow.
It was just really cool. So it's a new generation.
Oh yeah, then they're so curious and they're so open-minded, and they actually come up with stuff you never heard of. You wouldn't have thought of yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it is very fascinating that the whole mythology behind it, just fascinates me every day. I find something new to read or to look at, and I wish I could remember everything that I read. I read a lot. I just can't remember a lot.
You're on the retention.
I read all the time.
I do the same. I read a lot. I read a lot of articles, and and get stuff prepared for the show. And unless I have it written down or put it out, I won't remember, especially during a lot of stuff I have to write down. And, but the really interesting, juicy stuff I'll remember, it's really got to, come to, like lately, I found out something here about, and for the listeners, we're in El Paso, Texas, and it's not exactly Bigfoot country, it's nothing but really just desert and hills and some mountains and stuff, but what we do have is a lot of ghost stories. This was actually a frontier town, as most people aware that it was a lot of shootings. It was a really violent town, and for a while there wasn't even any law enforcement back in the 1800s. People were just kind of like self-policing themselves, and so we had a lot of shootings and a lot of bad things that went on, and we have a lot of restless spirits, especially in the downtown area and quite a few in the outskirts, because back then, I guess back then it was it started off as cotton country. About back in the 50s and 40s, 50s and 60s, this was probably one of the largest cotton growing areas in the country. They had quite a bit of cotton going on and growing cotton and the cotton industry. And even during World War II, they had quite a bit of captured German soldiers were here picking cotton. That's really interesting. You hear a lot of stories about that. And they had like slaughterhouses and stuff where they killed all kinds of, pigs and goats and cows or whatever. I don't know. But there's a story lately that I found out about that. There was a slaughterhouse. What do you call them? Where they and getting ready, for market and stuff. There was a lady there that she came over from Juarez, Mexico, and she commuted over here and she got a job there. And this was, I guess, back in the 1900s or something. And the slaughterhouse was on the edge of town. It's in a cotton field now. It's in ruins. It's not. The only thing that's there are 6 pillars. They used to hold up a ceiling, and that's why it's called 6 Poles. That's the name of the place, 6 Poles. And I don't know if I forward that along or anything, but apparently it was a slaughterhouse, and this lady got a job there, and she was really afraid afraid of one of the hooks and the knives that were coming off the ceiling and where you hang the sides of beef. And she had an accident one day. She got knocked over and accidentally impaled herself on a hook, and then a knife blade came down and chopped her head off. So her worst fears came to fruition there. So it's said that at night you can see her walking around, in that bloody butcher outfit with all the blood on it. She's carrying her head walking around. So that's really creepy. And wow. They showed some pictures of it. Apparently there's some satanic verses and satanic symbols written all over the place there on what's left of the concrete. And that's just spooky, knowing stuff like that's out there. And it's not too far out of town. I used to be out of town. It's in town now, but within city limits. But I heard that, and that really freaked me out.
Wow, that would creep me out too. Yeah, my goodness.
Some lady walking around, the headless butcher, I guess.
Well, no, yeah. I don't know if I'd hang out in that neighborhood too much.
No,
but you don't never know.
It's just nothing but farm fields. I saw a picture of it, and I know where that is. It's just nothing but cotton fields. So it had a lot of cotton, a lot of probably some wacky tobacco somewhere mixed in. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. That could contribute to the stories.
I think so. Yes. Anything over there in your neck of the woods? I know you were working on some stories or something last time we talked.
Yeah. It hadn't been anything lately besides what we talked about before. Mm-hmm. Haven't found out any new information that I could disclose. Mm-hmm. But I'm like you. I'm always finding something close by that I didn't know was in my area that that has a story behind it.
Yeah.
Just recently, there's an old covered bridge supposedly not far from my house that I've never been to, and I heard about, and they say it's one of them haunted ones. Where you park at the end of it and you walk across it and you see a light or something. Those stories are told often about covered bridges. I don't know, maybe that a ghost and floating light like to hang out at covered bridges.
Yeah, well, that's where the headless horsemen like to hang out.
Yeah, headless horseman. Yeah,
I wonder if there's any based in any truth in that, because I know there was a story written by Washington Irving. Yeah. I don't know if there's any truth behind that.
I don't know. I know that's one of my favorite series I've been watching.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty cool.
That is a neat series. And did you see the crossover episode where they did the crossover with Bones and Sleepy Hollow? Yeah, I haven't seen the Sleepy Hollow one yet. I have it on DVR, so we will watch a little later tonight. After the kids go trick or treating. So.
I thank goodness for Hulu. I love it. So you can catch them programs if you miss them that night, you can catch them. Next night, usually.
Oh, okay. I need to look into that. I'm still stuck on Netflix.
Oh yeah. I love Netflix too, but Hulu is, and that's the reason I love it. It's like about the same price as Netflix. It's not very expensive, but of course, Flash and Gotham. I love all the superhero stuff. They got the Heroes Reborn.
Oh, okay.
That's really good too. But if you got Hulu, if they're on Tuesday, the most current show, you got Hulu, you can watch it Wednesday.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's good. Next day,
I usually catch up on all my stuff the day after. But
my wife's a big Supernatural fan, so I don't know if that's on there or not.
Yeah.
That's on there. Okay.
Yeah. Everything's on there.
Might have to get her subscription for Christmas.
There you go.
But we found out there's been quite a few. I don't know if all this stuff's being made up now or whatever. Since the paranormal's a big thing now. It's really taken off. With all these paranormal shows and paranormal TV shows and paranormal radio shows, just like this one. It's another thing that I've been contemplating doing something like this for years and years. It's become very popular now. People are coming from ghost stories out of all over the place.
Wow.
Just making, I don't know if they're just making stuff up, because I've been hearing stuff like from around town that I'd never heard. I've been here all my life, and I've never heard about half of this stuff that they're talking about. I don't know. I know some of the old ones, about, ghosts on the side of the road and things of that nature. People, you're driving down and somebody's walking by a graveyard and there are ghosts and things like that. So we have a lot of those as well.
Yeah. Once you get out a little bit, I've noticed and talk to people, and you'd be surprised how many people do have a ghost story, a family-related ghost story. And now you told me some of yours that was really cool.
Yeah.
you lived in actually a haunted house, didn't you?
We did. We had a haunted house. We used to live in one.
Cool.
But it wasn't a malevolent spirit or anything like that, and or anything. We just never found out who it was because there was the house only had one owner before we did. It was a retired school teacher, and she did not die in the house. She just left. She moved. We don't know who this guy was. It was a little blonde kid. I guess about a teenager age, I'd imagine, or something like that. So, but we never know. He was harmless. He never moved anything around. Never, intentionally tried to scare us or anything like that. And then when my daughter came along, you never saw him at all. I guess, for that, I didn't want to scare her.
Yeah.
So he never really bothered us or anything. I'm just glad he didn't follow us to our new house.
Well, maybe he was just a homebody, and that was his whole purpose, just to hang around.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's one of those things that one day we'll know. But
hopefully not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. But there's got to be something to that, just like the Bigfoot and the other stories. There's just the UFOs. There's just too much going on for it not to be something to it. It's mass hallucination. Or
now, you've seen, or you have. You've seen ghosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have.
Yeah. I've been on a couple of good investigations, and some just close to home, like you were talking about. And actually, the best ones were close to home, even though I've traveled, to St. Augustine, Florida, and investigated the castle there that you see the ghost hunters and the ghost adventure guys investigating, and the tower, the lighthouse in St. Augustine. We've investigated that, and didn't get too much from there, but the castle, or the fort, it's actually a fort. It was very interesting and kind of creepy looking.
The Spanish fort is like
the Spanish fort.
It's that old Spanish fort. I think I've seen that at St. Augustine.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is that the one that has that little corner, has a little guard shack or stone guard house, little guardhouse, and they said that's like the entrance to hell or something?
I think that's and it looks almost like a fireplace opening that you crawl through into another room. And that's one of the rooms where they were talking about was a lot of activity, and actually that's the one that we had some activity in. But the cool thing is we didn't know that till a week or two later after we investigated. Then it was then we seen the Ghost Adventure show and said, oh man, look, there we're at where we were at, okay. And actually the same room we had some activity was the main one they were talking about. So we thought, well, shoot, that validates us, I guess, to some degree.
Wow. So you guys had activity there at the castle, and I guess did the ghost hunters as well on TV?
They picked up some activity there, and that one room that you go in, and like I say, it's like a half moon curved fireplace, and I think it was an opening that they had found that was walled in at one time, but it supposedly went into a room where they kept some prisoners and stored ammunition, different things like that at one time. But it was a real spooky type room, and the weirdest thing, you have to basically get on your knees to crawl through it to get into it. Like I say, it's about the size of a fireplace. And actually, when we were going into it, we had my daughter was there, who lives in Cocoa Beach, Florida, lives nearby, and my son-in-law, and they were there with my wife Robin and I. So we were going to go into this room. My daughter went first. She crawled through there, and my wife went in behind her. But my wife was about halfway through. It's probably about 3 or 4 foot thick, like a little tiny tunnel. Yeah. But for some reason, her cell phone hit the floor and flew across the floor in front of her and went into the room.
Wow.
And she just, thought she might have bumped it or kicked it accidentally or something. But the cool thing was later she was looking at it, and somehow it had taken a picture.
Oh, wow.
Of my daughter from that was going in front of her. Yeah. And there's the weirdest apparition that looks like it's, just kind of a Casper looking, ghostly looking thing, just kind of looks like it was right there behind her.
Oh, wow.
And, so my wife was wondering, maybe that's what knocked the phone out of her hand or something. But,
wow. So knocked the phone out of her hand. You wanted to take her picture.
Yeah, I guess.
That's amazing, Andrew. You don't hear that too often, that these things could knock things out of your hand or knock things over or move you or push you. You can touch, but I never, you don't hear too much that they can.
No. I think those are referred to as poltergeists, aren't they? The ones that are mean and kind of mischievous and open cabinet doors and move chairs around and things like that. Yeah, and I don't know what the difference is. What makes you a poltergeist or what makes you a ghost? I don't know if there's a line you got to get in or what.
Well, I've heard that poltergeists are kind of like self-generated. You generate it, with your own, like your anger or something going on with you, or
could be more of a demonic type thing.
Well, yeah, I don't know, because I've heard that it happens a lot around teenagers, teenage girls with their angst, and all that. They create all this energy, and that's what feeds, I guess, is poltergeist. So because it usually happens when there's teenagers in the house or something.
We raised 4 girls, so absolutely, I think you're right. I think you hit on something there.
Yeah, because that's what I think it is. Every time you see something on TV, it always has to do. There's always a teenager around.
Yeah,
and they're the ones feeding this thing.
And all the things that happen in my house, all the knobs and things that got broken, remotes and things that disappeared, they never knew anything about them.
Yeah.
See? So the kids didn't do it.
No, we didn't do it.
The ghost did it.
Yeah. I don't know. We have we have a rash of remote controls disappearing here. It's been for a while there, and never do find them. So I don't know what they do with them.
One of the things they could change is to color them other than black. I've never understood that. You know what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the easiest thing to lose is if it's black in the shadows. And
what would be neat if they could put a device on one of these, or make those put something in them in the remote.
Little car horn you mash.
Yeah, so you could do like an app on your phone and just push a button on your phone and it'll in the remote will start beeping so you can find it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a heck of an idea. I probably just made somebody a millionaire just.
Our boat come in and we just missed it.
That's it. Yeah, but somebody's a bit smarter than me to figure that one out. I think not exactly your technical type of guy,
But it's us guys who have the ideas, though. See,
yeah,
we just don't get the credit.
That's right, the idea man. That's it.
That's right.
So yeah, and last time I remember we were talking about the the attack on Fort Benning? We were talking about the UFO attack.
Yeah, the UFO attack on Fort Benning. Did you ever get a chance to read any?
Well, there's a book on there. I found out there was a book. A guy actually wrote a book. I guess he was a sergeant or something.
Right.
He wrote the book about what happened there. And there was some controversy about, if I remember correctly, I think the Pentagon or the powers that be didn't want it to be released.
That's what it appears to be. Yeah. Actually, I think the book is called Incident at Fort Benning.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it. And Fort Benning, Georgia, is basically in my backyard. Even though I live in Alabama, but there's a Fort Benning South, is what they call it, and it's on the Alabama side of the Chattahoochee River, which separates Georgia and Alabama.
Okay.
I never knew there was a Fort Benning in Alabama, till I moved here.
I didn't know either till you just told me.
Georgia.
I'm sure a lot of people didn't either. That's the first you've heard it here on the Red Horizon.
Fort Benning, Alabama.
That's right.
They're gonna sure close us down now. Fort Benning, Alabama. Yeah, right. And this. I've lived here. I live in Phoenix City, Alabama, which is right across the river again from Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah.
We moved here when I was about 12, I guess it was, in the early 70s. It wasn't until, I think it was last year, the year before, I just happened to find something on YouTube, and there's very little on it, and this is what was so enticing to me, is I found out very little information on it. But supposedly in 1977, September the 14th, actually, of 1977, there was a weapons demonstration at Fort Benning, and it was called JAWS, JAWS, which was the I forget what it stands for, the Joint something other weapon system.
Yeah, it's always joint something.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and I think there were some high officials there, some high government officials. I believe the Secretary of the Army was there, or the Secretary of Defense. One of those high officials. Yeah. I have to read the book and catch up on it. During the demonstration, there was supposedly a battle, a UFO, a spaceship, a battle actually coming, and I never have heard. I don't think anybody knows the reason what started the battle. I haven't heard that. It actually resulted into in some deaths. Some choppers were down. Some of the pilots were killed.
Oh wow!
Over 1,300 service men were hospitalized.
Wow!
With symptoms similar to the measles is what they were calling it, but they were missing time and things like that. And like I say, I've lived here most of my life, and I still can't find anybody that will tell me anything about this, or if they remember, they're just not talking about it. I don't know, but
could be, yeah.
It's like to me, it's like Roswell. I mean, if there's actually a battle went on where people were killed and things, you think there would be some kind of a
You think 1,300 people were injured or whatever? You think that somebody would come forward, or there'd be somebody around that would remember that or was there.
Exactly. Yeah, but there's paper trail, there's documentation, and that's what's so enticing about the book, and what makes it so believable is. You talked about Martin Army Hospital that is there. I mean, it really goes into detail. A sergeant major and a couple of other people that actually come to the forefront as I guess, I don't know if you call them whistleblowers or what, but actually come to tell the story. And they are the ones that do the interviews. There's a few YouTube interviews you can find where they tell the story. And like I said, the book is called Incident at Fort Benning, but it's very interesting. And one thing I did find out is, and I don't remember exactly where I found out from last time we talked, but I had wondered why Stanton Friedman, the big guy with Roswell, why he's never mentioned anything about this. And I saw something the other day where he did kind of lean towards that he did know about it, but just it wasn't, just like. It wasn't worth pursuing,
Oh, wow.
Or maybe not that it wasn't worth pursuing, but maybe you shouldn't pursue it.
Oh, wow.
But the way I took it is like, he's been doing the Roswell thing so many years and stuff. And maybe I'm not going to get into that again. Maybe he had that attitude. Just whatever happened. And,
Oh, wow. That's so, they probably just got to him and he doesn't want to talk about it or something, or.
Yeah, that's very possible. And I've told you this before. A lot of times I'm reluctant about talking about this story because, and you can, and all this, you can look it up, but every person that come forward to tell about this has died.
Wow.
And some mysteriously, and some of their family members. I mean, seriously, they have.
Wow.
And within the last 2 years.
That's amazing.
And, whether it had anything to do with it or not, I'm not saying it. I'm not a lady, but it's just kind of scary, and you read so much about conspiracies and things, and and like I say, I live right here on the outside of on the outskirts of Fort Benning, so I especially don't need to
you don't want anything
talking too much about it because it wouldn't take much for that missile to miss its target and happen to land in my yard.
Or you're paid a visit by the guys in black, or a black helicopter starts flying over your house.
I'd rather be the men in black instead of the men in the khakis come to see me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't put too much into the Men in Black thing. It seems to me like they might go pick on the wrong person, and those Men in Black will end up, face down somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
If they came to visit me, it'd be a very unpleasant experience for them. I can tell you that right now.
That's the way I'm thinking. But those stories that you hear, they say they're very intimidating, guys. Well, and there's been lots of Bigfoot stories of these guys show up because somebody had shot one or killed one or got a little too close to it.
Oh, really? So they'll come pay a visit.
And they say there's usually just basically like you see on TV. There's a little guy and there's a big guy. The little guy kind of tells you how it's going to be, and the big guy kind of assures you how it's going to be.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's some you can look a lot of this stuff up on YouTube and things. There's some great interviews of people that have experienced stuff like this.
Oh, okay. Well, and I've seen that, and you've seen like interviews and people talk about it, how they were a very intimidating presence and things like that, and. What I read once was, or what I saw, that one of them's sometimes accompanied by like an Air Force officer or something. Mm-hmm. And his name tag will be nothing but consonants. His name, some sort of weird Polish name, but all consonants. Something very, very, you can't even pronounce it.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw. That's what I thought was kind of odd,
That would be creepy, yeah.
Yeah, and this person was approaching a bar. He was in a bar or a restaurant or something like that, and they approached him there and told him, not to talk to anybody, don't you know, that's right. It was a lady. She was told not to contact her boyfriend anymore, and because they had this sighting and that she was being watched and all this stuff and so on and so forth. And they approached her right in the middle of this. She was sitting at like a bar area. I guess she was waiting for her boyfriend, and her boyfriend never showed up. And she went off to call the police that these guys were bothering her. And she goes and calls, and the guys are still sitting there when she comes back off the phone. And they warn her again not to pursue this, not to contact anybody, and not to go forward with her story. And then they just walk away and they leave. So that's kind of weird. You know, you think that they'd be that bold to do that.
It is. You're right, and you know that reminds me when you look at some of the UFO theories and conspiracies, you can read about these underground installations and things that supposedly the government has built, and some of this stuff is supposed to go 20 or 30 stories below Earth, and not only that, but even installations that we know about, like that are under the White House, things such as that. But you would think, especially the supposedly conspiracy type theories as far as the underground installations, when you got construction going on, aren't there like dozens, if not hundreds of people on something like, especially that big? I just can't figure out how they can hush hundreds of people, that would work on these construction sites, and how it can go unnoticed, digging a hole out, 20 stories deep in the ground. There's things like that is what I wonder about is how this stuff was built and who built it, and one or two may talk about it. What about the other? And
you do hear about, I've only heard one person really, one account of something like that. Some guy said he worked in a place like that, but yeah, you're right. How do you keep something like that secret? It's like the space program. If they faked the space program, it would have taken thousands of people to fake it. The walking on the moon and all that. How do you keep that? You can't keep that secret.
Just confusing. Just to think about the confusion is confusing. Like Area 51. You think all the people that work out there, somebody would slip up once in a while or show a photograph or something. They must pay really good, or are those really dedicated people? I don't know.
Or they really scared them, something like that. That's what I think. But a lot of those people, they did come forward, and a lot of, and they really didn't. I guess they weren't really paid attention to, or they didn't believe their accounts or something, because they've since all passed on. But you had people that, like the guy that ran the funeral home, came up and said that they ordered a bunch of small caskets that were children's caskets, and they told him not to talk about it. And Jesse Marcel's daughter corroborated that he brought home that all that stuff with the writing on it, the pieces of metal,
just indestructible pieces of things, and I've read and watched that thousands of times, and I have a question about that. It's kind of silly, but supposedly they found little sheets of metal, like you say, and the way they describe it is like tinfoil or something. But it's just iridescent. You couldn't burn it, you couldn't cut it, you couldn't break it, and you'd wad it up, and it just go back out by itself. So I'm thinking, well, how did it get in the piece to start with? It had to break off of something, so something somewhere is able to cut it or break it. Like when you think diamonds are supposed to be the hardest substance on Earth, but diamonds are cut, so something is sharp enough to cut a diamond. What are you cutting diamonds with?
Diamonds.
Other diamonds.
Other diamonds.
You just find a naturally sharp diamond and use it to cut.
They cut them with industrial diamonds. With I guess whatever the difference is, I don't know. But you know what those tinfoil things could be. Maybe it's the alien version of sandwich wrap or something.
I don't know. Maybe could have Roswell. They could have found a lunchbox and that was it.
Maybe it was an alien food truck that crashed. Their version, one of those lunch trucks.
Just making a delivery.
Somebody they got to eat something. That's what I'm thinking. Who knows what it could be? I've been to Roswell a couple of times, and I saw the museums and stuff, and it's a lot of tourists, a lot of hoopla and stuff for the tourists, but I guess you got to make your money somehow.
I've never been, but I'd like to go. A cool fact about Roswell, I bet you didn't know this.
What's that?
John Denver is from Roswell.
Oh, yeah.
John Denver.
Yeah.
Country Roads.
Yeah. You mentioned that last time we were, now that I recall, you did mention that. That was... that
was just cool.
Yeah, he was... he left us too soon, before his time, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely.
But so you've been to Roswell?
I've been there twice. that I recall.
Go to the
a
little
long time ago.
alien restaurant.
Yeah,
Alien.
we went about. We went exactly about 11 years ago. Last time I was there.
Oh.
And we went to the museum, and I don't remember we eating there or anything like that, but they do have quite a bit of museums, quite a bit of shops, tourist shops, the little alien heads and all that, of course it's all made in China.
Oh.
So, and we bought some bumper stickers and things like that, and we took a lot of pictures. I don't know what happened to them though. I've since lost them, but we're probably going to go back, take the kids.
The Men in Black got them.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I am missing a USB, and that USB is where those pictures were.
See? There
so
you
I
go.
think they probably took them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were due to go back, take the kids, take them to the museum. It's about a 4-hour drive from here.
Somebody didn't pull out a little ink pen looking thing and tell you to look at it, did they?
I wouldn't remember if they did.
That's right. Good answer.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, that sounds like a neat place to go to, and it's a nice drive. About 4 hours. It's not too bad. You can make it go up there in a day and come back. So that there's a lot of neat things in the area. A lot of old forts, cavalry forts, because this was a big, there was a lot of Indian wars just north of here with the Apaches, and the Buffalo Soldiers were here. They say that, and we have a cemetery where they're buried. They have a section that's dedicated just to them. They got a big statue of the Buffalo Soldiers, a guy and a horse and everything. And they've done some ghost investigations there at the monument where the soldiers are buried, and you can see the orbs and all that, and the flashes of light and things that develop on the camera. So it's a lot of activity there in this area. It's a very, very old cemetery from the 1800s. So I guess these guys are still with us.
Wow. So
yeah, and it's amazing the stuff that you find in this area. There's a lot of history here. I'd imagine just like in your neck of the woods, a lot of history there too.
It is, and you just got, and I've said this a million times about the Bigfoot research thing. You want to know, just do the research. You can look up everything I've seen and found and looked up, for people, but same way for your area. And that's what I was getting to is, like, I live in Fort Mitchell, Alabama, just right outside of Phoenix City. I didn't know till it was just a couple of years ago. Oh Lord, now this is embarrassing. What's the guy who wrote the Star Spangled Banner?
Francis Scott Key.
Francis Scott Key. That he was actually, I think we call it stationed at, because there was actually a fort in Fort Mitchell at one time. Okay. And it's got a big history with the Indians and the Trail of Tears thing. Oh, okay. Kind of started here, but actually he was here at one time, which I thought was pretty cool. And he kind of was a big shot or run something here at the fort, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then he went on to write that song, which.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was captured on the War of 1812, and he was on a British ship, and he was watching was it Fort McHenry? It was siege of Fort McHenry, right?
Yeah,
and
I think it was.
And they didn't expect it to be around in the morning, but sure enough, there it was in the morning with a big flag, and that flag was purposely, it was a huge flag that they purposely ran up the flagpole so the British could see that they were still there.
Wow!
So it's in the Smithsonian.
That's another place I got on my bucket list to go sometime.
Oh yeah, you got to devote a week to that place, I hear.
That's what I hear.
And that'd be awesome to take. Well, when the kids are a little older, take them something like that. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go there in the Air and Space Museum.
Oh yeah,
that'd be neat too.
Well,
maybe see some ghosts there.
I bet you could.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing I was going to ask you. You've been in a lot. You being an entertainer and all that, and you've done that for years. And I'm sure you've been in your fair share of concert halls and theaters and stuff. Have you ever had any experience of ghosts or spookies in those? I've heard that those are, they attract a lot of ghosts.
I've seen some women in them places that kind of scared me. But that's another story.
Yeah, but they're fans, not the fans.
No, I wish to, if I could go back now, as much as I was playing, I wasn't into the paranormal things much back then, even though I enjoyed it, but I didn't actually, participate in it. But now that when you mentioned there are a lot of places I have played or towns that I would have liked to, took a little time, went in early and checked some things out. But as far as just the venues we played at, I can't think of anything that was paranormal.
Oh wow, okay.
But not so. I mean, I did get and I think I mentioned this last show. I did get some evidence at an IHOP restaurant one time.
Oh yeah. All right, yeah. Well, you know what, Dale? Let's go and take a quick break, and we'll continue with the IHOP story. You can refresh our memory at your experience at IHOP here, and we'll be back in a few minutes for the Event Horizon Show with Dale Boswell.
You are listening to the Paranormal Chronicles Network. Please remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Visit theparanormalchronicles.com for paranormal news, reports, pictures, audio, and video content. Find us on Facebook at The Paranormal Chronicles. Together, we explore the unknown.
Do you believe in ghosts? A Most Haunted House is the true best-selling paranormal account that has chilled the world. Available on Kindle, on Audible, and in paperbook. Dare you read? Dare you step inside a most haunted house?
Good evening, creatures. It is I, Gavin. Now, if you're enjoying our show and would like to support us without chilling your bank account, then when you shop online at Amazon, simply head to theparanormalchronicles.com website. Click support us on the left-hand side, follow the link to Amazon, and shop away. Your goods won't cost you any extra, but we get a few pence and a few cents as a commission. Think of it as a tip jar, and your support will help us chill, thrill, educate, and entertain for future broadcasts. Next time you shop Amazon, think theparanormalchronicles.com.
The Paranormal Chronicles.
And Dale, and you were telling us about the about your ghost adventure at IHOP.
At IHOP.
Yes.
Yeah. This was last year, I think it was. But my wife and I had went to IHOP during the middle of the day. Was going to have a breakfast for lunch, and also I was about to go out of town for a tour, and I didn't want to go. You know, it was just one of them things. I just didn't want to do it. One of them things, but I was going to have to do it. It wasn't going to be but 8 or 10 days, but you know, so we were just kind of emotional, and I was videotaping everything for some documentaries purposes and for some music videos and things. We went on 8 and you know, did our thing, and when I had got home a few weeks later, I was going through some of the footage and looking at it, and there was one part in particular. We were sitting at the table, and we had 2 cameras going. And we were kind of emotional, and she didn't want me to go, and I didn't want to go. You know, and this is the key point to the tape. But I said something like, you know, it's just breaking my heart, and it was breaking my heart, you know, because she was so sad, you know, and to see her like that. But you know, it would have had to do. But what I had heard on this audio tape, and I didn't even have to enhance it. It was just there, you know. It was just like, oh God, what was that? But right after I had said it's breaking my heart, you could hear her voice, and it sounded like it got right into the microphone, just like this, and went, sad.
Wow.
It was just that strong, and I've been meaning to send it to you, and I forgot. And actually looking at the video footage after I heard that, and then looking at the footage, I was just listening to the audio at the time. But then actually see, you know, what some people call an orb.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And the other camera filmed this camera, because I was holding the camera.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went right in front of my face at that same time when we heard the word sad.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, and then, of course, it was like middle of the day. There was lots of people in there, you know, so. But you can distinguish all the other sounds from this one. You can tell this one was right in my face, and you could see with the video that there was nobody in my face.
Wow.
But so, you know, we didn't know whether it was a spirit that was being sarcastic, or if he felt sorry for us, you know.
Yeah.
You know, here we were, you know, it was breaking my heart, sad, or if he was like,
wow.
Boy, they pitiful, sad. You know. But it was, no, either way, it was, you know, it was really fascinating, and actually, I want to go back there and do an investigation sometime, just see what I can, you know. I don't know how you approach an IHOP manager and tell her restaurant is haunted in the middle of the day.
That's interesting. Was it a male voice or female voice? Could you tell?
Sound like a male voice.
Yeah. Wow. That's
it was almost just exactly like sad. It was just announced, and
yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
have to make me a note and send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. So we can maybe post that or something. See what people's thoughts of that are.
Yeah, so it just kind of goes to show, it's ghosts or spirits. I guess they can be anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, wherever they want to be. I don't know if they have any sense of time. Think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they don't anymore anyway.
Yeah, because they're in a place for all eternity. So, does eternity have a sense of time? I don't know. That's interesting.
That's a good something good to research.
Yeah. We have some. I haven't had anything spooky happen to me during the day or anything like that. Most of the stuff that happens around here happens at night. And your normal hauntings, I guess, your run-of-the-mill hauntings. We do have this one story though. Here where we live in El Paso, it's the city's separated in half by a mountain range. It's the end. It's actually the end of the Rocky Mountains, right? The southernmost portion of the Rocky Mountains ends right in the middle of town, right in the middle of the city, and it's a pretty good. It's about 6,000 foot mountain. And on there is they built a road to connect one part of the city to the other, so you don't have to drive all the way around. And it's called Trans Mountain Drive, and it's cut through, and it goes winding through a lot of little canyons and gullies and things like that. And it's a real beautiful drive. It goes up in the mountains about 5,000 feet, and then down the other side. And actually, I take that road to work every day, to work at home. But at night, there's no lighting. So it's really, really creepy at night. It's beautiful during the day, but at night it's something else. It's really, really creepy. It's dangerous. It's pitch black. If you lose the lights on your car, that's it. You can't see anything.
Wow.
Other than stars. It's said that years and years ago, I guess when they were barely building it back in the 30s or 20s or whenever they built it, I know it was a long time ago. There was this priest who used to walk his dog. It was a great big German Shepherd. The story goes that he was up there taking a walk and he was murdered, or he was hit by a car, or anyway, he met his demise over there, and he died, and along with the dog. It's said now that he actually will appear right before a really bad car accident up on the mountain. And that's what they say, is at night he'll appear and you'll see him dressed in black like a priest, with a little white collar, and he's had his enormous dog with him, this big giant, abnormally large German Shepherd with him on a chain, and he's just standing there at the end. As you're passing by, you just see him, standing on the side of the road, and they say that he's like warning people that there's going to be an accident or something like that, and that's kind of creepy. It's that's been going along since I was a kid, hearing that story. I've never seen him. I guess something people don't really like to talk about for some reason. They talk about a whole lot of other stuff around here, but you don't see too many people that are admitting to seeing this guy or anything like that. So that can be kind of creepy too, I think.
So if you run up on this guy, you best stop and turn around and go the other direction.
I would imagine so. Or slow down at least.
Slow down or something, yeah.
Yeah, because coming down off the side of the mountain or whichever side you're coming down, you pick up a lot of speed because it's it's pretty high up there. So there's a lot of accidents, a lot of fatal accidents. People go over the edge a lot. People have gone over the edge in that thing and they don't find them for a couple of days. So that's a spooky thing up there. And then there's the ghost of a miner that had a gold mine, or I find it hard to believe because there's no gold in this area, but he had some sort of mine up in the mountain, and they say you could see him, walking along the little hiker paths and things like that. So there's a few of those here around and abouts, and a lot of haunted houses, a lot of people ghosts here are weird. I guess they're kind of perverts or something, because everybody here, just about everybody that I know, has a story about a ghost that they've woken up and seen a ghost watching them. So that's kind of creepy too.
Wow. Wow, you got quite a big ghost history in that area. It's surprising, like you say, you don't read or see more about it. But like you say, most, and the same thing applies with Bigfoot. There's so many sightings and stuff that go on that people don't report. That's understand that part of it. Then you could understand that there's a lot more to it than you think there is. But just because a few people report, I can see maybe dismissing something. But in the same way with what you're talking about, there's so many people see ghosts and and a lot of them, just kind of grew up with ghosts and strange things in their homes and houses and stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, everybody's got a ghost story. I have yet to meet anybody that didn't have one. I'll just ask the random people, hey, have you ever seen one or anything like that? And they always have, either they have or they know somebody who has, or is a relative, or their Aunt Betty, whatever. But everybody has one, and almost everybody that I've met says that they grew up with somebody watching them in their bedroom or whatever. It's just amazing.
I guess I missed that one.
So did I, because I didn't see it. No, I wouldn't want to experience that. So I still sleep with a light on. I'll admit it. Be the first to admit it.
Well, I do too. It's just to keep from stumbling.
Yeah, that's it.
When I have to get up during the night.
That's it.
Yeah, right. You're right here.
That's exactly it.
I was being macho. Nope, I'm gonna keep a light on.
Well, I do it, for the wife and kids. Of course, it's not.
That's right. That's the fatherly thing to do.
That's right. Just looking out for the family.
That's right.
Safety first, and I don't want the ghost to run into anything and wake me up either. So that way they can see too.
Absolutely.
So.
Talking about looking at you and peeking through windows and stuff. I just saw a video today. It's back to the Bigfoot, and boy, we jumping around on all kinds of stuff. But we said we was going to, so we're going to do it, aren't we? We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but somebody captured a video peeking in a Bigfoot peeking in the window. Apparently, this guy had been coming up missing out of his garden and things and such. So he set up a video camera inside the house, just looking out the window.
Yeah,
and of course the footage is hard to see, can't hardly tell, but you see two eyes really good, and it's something is in the window, and you can see it kind of looking in there, and it's like you would do if you were like, what's in there? I wonder, know. But it's not really clear, but you can tell that it is something, and it's really big too.
Wow.
That's one of the latest videos that's going out. That is.
And did you have that video? Did you have a link to it? Did you link it or anything?
I think I'm not sure if I did it yet or not, but I may have. I have to check and see.
Yeah.
On my Southern Sasquatch page, I may have put it on there.
Okay.
But I'll check back and see.
And that's your Southern Sasquatch page. That's on Facebook. Right?
On Facebook page. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my own little page, and I call it Southern Sasquatch. But it's a page where we can talk about spooks and superheroes and serial killers and just all
that good stuff,
weird things that I grew up and interested in talking about and listen to. So I just put it all on one page, but I call it Southern Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's a neat website. People, listening, go check it out. It's a really neat page. It has a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting information on there. All kinds of stuff about Bigfoot that I didn't even know, and Dale puts it on his page, and it's really, really interesting. Especially the white Bigfoot. I'd never heard of one. I've heard of the abominable snowman, the Yeti, but until I met you, Dale, I'd never heard of a white Bigfoot at all.
Alabama wild thing is some people call it in some parts of Alabama. I think around Bruton, Alabama, in that area where there's been some sightings.
Do you think it's just one Bigfoot, or maybe a small population of white Bigfoots, or just maybe an albino Bigfoot? Who knows?
The theories that they go in all directions. Apparently, they're more than we thought they were, or people just noticing them more lately. Which more people are out and about. In this time of day, and everybody's got a camera, so that could be part of it. But been able to, as far as I know, there's no white hair has been found, no Bigfoot white hair. They say they do find some hair for DNA studies and things such as that. But I don't think they've found anything that was white yet. But people are seeing them, and they're either white, like you say, or they're gray, maybe old, or they're albino, or luck of the draw.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I bet you that's what it is. I bet you that's an albino Bigfoot, because that runs in all the animal species.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Who knows?
It's very possible.
And
lacking the pigment in its skin, or
or fur, or whatever. But and you guys are famous, and you guys got the only one. I don't know.
Like polar bear, don't they say polar bears, their fur is actually transparent or something? I think I read before, and even though it looks white, but something about the reflection of the sun and the snow, and it is actually I don't have to reread it again.
Yeah, something
similar that their hair was actually kind of transparent.
Yeah, and I heard that if you shave their hair off, they're actually black underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's now I'm curious. I gotta look that up and see. And I know there's the polar bear population has just been exploding lately. You know, they say that there's not, but you know, the reason you see them hungry is because there's so many of them now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there have been some where they have mixed with some brown bears.
Yeah, brown bears or grizzly bears or something.
Yeah.
So
coming down a little further south, and or the brown and grizzlies are going a little further north. One or the other. Somebody's stepping across the line.
They like to mix and mingle.
On the other side of the fence.
Yeah, hey, you know, they're you know, the brown bears, they need their loving too, I guess, you know. But what I was reading also that it was estimated, and I don't know how they estimate these things, but they're saying that the polar bear population is actually larger now than before Europeans came to the continent. So who knows how they would measure that? I have no idea, but that's what I was reading.
Well, that means that whatever they're eating there's a lot more of too.
Yeah, the seals and the penguins and whatever it is they eat out there, you know, Eskimos, who knows, whatever they eat.
I'm sure an Eskimo once in a while, probably.
Yeah, or some trapper out there, you know. I'm thinking, you know, all these disappearances in Alaska, you know, and stuff like that, you know, that's where people disappear all the time. And I'm thinking it's probably the animal population getting them, you know, the polar bears, grizzly bears, whatever's out there, you know, and I think that's probably what's happening. You know, and they're attributing it to, you know, evil spirits or whatever, or some sort of Alaska Triangle or whatever it is. But, you know, you got to think about that. Those things are dangerous. They'll eat you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, won't even think about it, you know.
Yeah.
They go about their merry day.
Yeah, and then they, you know, like they tell you, it was that joke they said, if you want to scare away bears, you got to wear little bells and little bells on you. You know, those little bells that jingle scares away the bears. And then some guy's walking down and he says, look, there's some grizzly bear feces. I said, how do you know it's grizzly bear feces? Because it has little bells in it.
Yep. That's probably some truth to that story.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because you know, you see these documentaries, these shows and stuff, and these guys living up above the Arctic Circle, and you know, they're always walking around armed because there's polar bears up there. You know, they'll just come right into town, and you know, there's nothing. You know, you're just driving down the street, there's a polar bear in the middle of town.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But he's hiding from this thing.
Yeah. What I think they're calling him the coy wolf, spread around in this. What it is, it's a cross between a wolf and a coyote. And
oh wow, I've never heard of that.
They call it a coy wolf, I think. Yeah, look it up. But they're bigger than a coyote, but they're smaller than a wolf. They're just right between it. But they carry a lot of the wolf tendencies and stuff. And but they seem to be making the rounds and spreading across the United States quicker than people thought they were. But wow,
I've never heard of those.
At one time, yeah, they didn't think those species would mate, but apparently they did.
That's amazing, you know, and that's the thing. Those wolf packs, you know, if you're going through the forest and stuff, those wolf packs will hunt you down. They're hungry enough to, you know, they've been known to do that. So I think that's where the people are disappearing to, and I think that's what's happening.
That's very possible.
That's what it is, because you know,
animals.
Even the Native Americans, the natives up there, you know, say people would disappear all the time.
And you know, an animal like that, a predator, there's not going to be much left anyway. You know, sad to say, but you know, that's what they do. And the forest takes the rest of it. So
yeah, they're just doing what nature intended them to do.
Yeah, that's why people need to be very aware of their surroundings. You know. Yeah. Tromping around the woods.
Yeah. And you never know what you're gonna run into, what you're gonna see. I'm more worried about humans, you know, and crazy people out there than really animals. But
yeah, true. You know, but you know, and getting back on the paranormal side and talking about animals is and we hadn't talked much about the Dogman.
Oh yeah.
Thing, but that's getting to be a very popular subject and lots of reports and stories and videos and things going on and it kind of creeps me out more than a Bigfoot does, because these things are werewolf creatures, according to the sightings and stuff, and they're aggressive. But what it seems like most reports is that even they'll act like they're going to attack you or something, but they'll just act like they feed off your fear. And that's one they're one of these that what they feed off. There's not any stories that I know of them actually attacking people. But they show the teeth. They're gonna come at you and they make you run. And Bigfoot don't do that. They have been some stories of them doing a attack. Just or just a fake attack. Just kind of run you off. Jumping at you. But not like these dogmen stories or dogman. I don't know if you would call more of them dogmen. It's just kind of spooky in itself.
Now, the werewolf type, do you think that they're actually like human by day and they turn into a werewolf and they're a dogman at night or something, or there's a population of them?
I don't think it's that, but I think it's possible that's where the werewolf story come from. Was from the dogman or the Bigfoot. But as far as people actually turning physically into a wolf, I don't know. But you hear pig men and other kind of animal men too. So then that takes you into the shapeshifter type creature. So there's so many things out there. It's just hard to tell. And
what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Again, you be aware of your surroundings.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
There's some boogers out there.
Oh yeah, the dogman thing. It's becoming more popular now as well. More people are finding out about it and all that. Because I'd never heard of them until a few years ago, to tell you the truth. And I've been more into the Bigfoot thing, but it's that's coming around. More people you're having more sightings, more people reporting it and everything. And I don't, I guess maybe they're getting a bigger population. And I'm curious as to do they live in packs? Do they live in caves? Where do these creatures live? Where do they stay? Where are they during the day? Where do they hunt? What do they hunt?
Right, exactly. And that's what takes us back to the caves, maybe, or these embankments where they have overhangs where you can go tunnels and things under the creeks. Or I'm like you. I just wish I knew. But then again, the creatures that are there. Where do they go? Where does a deer do? Does it just walk around all day? I'm sure it lays down somewhere.
Exactly.
The bears or the squirrels. I guess they've all got somewhere to go, and I guess it does too. It could be in the trees or lower. And that's the thing you hear about so many researchers talk about now, and it's the hardest thing in the world to do for a human, for you to look down or up walking through the woods, because you just naturally want to look kind of straight ahead, just a little bit down, and you'll see where you're going. But they say the Bigfoots and things are supposedly intelligent enough to figure that out. So they're going to be up here, in the trees, maybe, laying on the ground or crawling on their belly like a reptile or something. So they tell you if you're out looking for Bigfoot, just kind of keep that in mind and look up and look down and look all over and look behind logs and things like that. And
these things have been known to follow you too. Follow people.
Yeah. That's one of the best ways they say to maybe catch some evidence is to put a camera facing behind you.
Yeah.
And so you just pretend you're walking one way and let the camera catch the action. And they say a lot of times these things kind of follow you and peek behind you. And there's been footage, where some researchers have caught some pretty good facial pictures in the bushes or behind the trees that looks like some kind of a apish, primitive type creature.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I would never have thought of that, to put a camera behind me. That's something that's not what you normally do, but that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, because especially if they're as weary of cameras as they say they are.
Yeah,
and which is that's another story in itself, is trying to figure out how they are sensitive to these cameras. When you hear so many stories of people walking up on them, and you would think they would detect people really well. There's our scent or much noise we make walking through those, but there's accounts where people actually sneak up on them, walk around a corner or over a hill or something, and just there they are. And a lot of times the Sasquatch or the Bigfoots, they say their expression on their face is just about the same way, like, no God, what are you? Where'd you come from? That type.
That's that's what I've heard. They catch them by streams or feeding or looking for fish, looking for something to eat.
Yeah,
I think that's where they're most distracted. They're looking for something to eat, and then they're so concentrating on that, because that's normally what people walk up to them, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe that's what you gotta, that's what you gotta do. Just it's gonna be luck of the draw, or but then again, like we've talked about, where they're curious and territorial type creatures. So that's way how we were talking about it. If you act like you're not paying attention to them, and that's what I like to do when I go out, is I like to tell who everybody's with me, just keep an eye on everything around the campfire, whatever, but just don't look like you're looking. Let's make them think we ain't paying them a bit of attention. But just kind of shoot your camera in that way a little bit once in a while and point it behind you. If you do see something, kind of ease it. And there's not much of a chance of fooling these things, but I guess you can. They
got to let their guard down sometime.
Yeah, but that's. And I say that my theory is because, like you were talking before, so many sightings occur when people just doing regular, normal, everyday things, and these things show up to see what's going on. So
they're curious and they want to see what you're doing, and that's what I mean about these Bigfoot shows. They're tramping through the forest with all these cameras and crews and lights and gosh knows what. They're going to scare everything away. So.
Yeah, and they may be Bigfoot somewhere close by, seeing what all the commotion is, but they're not going to come in that close.
And I think it was you that was telling me that it's not so much a show about Bigfoot; it's a show about people who are looking for Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what that show is.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining, and like I say, all the guys and girls on there are very dedicated to what they're doing, Bigfoot research. But just just for show purposes and time purposes, there's only so much you can do, to show what they do.
Yeah.
And so that's basically showing, this is what we do, how we look for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because you would, you would have to spend more time and things even on the show where they get a hot spot, and you got to leave the next day or leave, that afternoon, whatever. Time constricts a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's where the really big researchers and evidence keepers are the people who can get out there and stay out there for a few days. And,
Though the ones that are dedicated, I guess, full time to do that, because my understanding, these people have other jobs and other things they do in the off season. But it's amazing when they go to these little town hall meetings and they have all these eyewitness accounts, and they can't all be lying,
right? Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure some of them are, and I hate, and it's just my nature. I just hate to think that people do that, but they do.
Yeah. That's sad, but true. That's human nature, to want attention and all that. But, or maybe sometimes they actually, believe it themselves. They believe they've seen something. They're maybe not lying.
Yeah, and they could have seen something. Then again, they could have seen what they said they saw, and I believe probably for the most part, I believe most of them did, I think the ones who want to lie and stuff are not that many. They probably caught.
Exactly. Why would you go on national television and expose yourself and say you saw something? Well, I guess people would just do anything to get on TV. So
I guess so.
Strike that, I guess.
That 15 minutes of fame, I reckon.
Exactly. But they've had a lot of, and a lot of the sightings, they seem to be consistent. It's always tall. It's looking through a window where nobody can look through because it's really high off the ground, or they're curious or just watching you, or
and a lot of sightings of them crossing roads is fascinating. Country roads, you see so many sightings of them, and it's like we were talking before, just a car come around the corner or around a curve, and where this thing just probably happened to be heading across the road, and there it is, and the headlights stuff. So
they got to cross the road somewhere.
That's
why did the Bigfoot cross the road? That you see, a lot of that, and in fact, I did. I had a guest on a few weeks ago who shared that story that he saw a Bigfoot at the side of the road, and as soon as the same thing, went around the corner, saw a Bigfoot. As soon as they saw this thing, it just took off right over the hill. Like I guess it was like on a curvy road over through some winding hills and whatever, but it just took off right through the brush like nothing.
Now there's a video out, and I don't know if I put this one on there yet, but it's one I was planning on it. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty popular. It's making the rounds too. And it's where these I think it's ladies in the car, and they run over something in the car on a country road. So the video is they're backing up to see what it was, and they're videotaping their backup camera because that's what they're looking at, because it was dark.
Yeah.
And you could see something big and black was laying in the road, and they're kind of backing up real slow to see what they hit. And this thing jumps up, and you could see it's got arms and legs like a person, and it starts coming after the car.
Oh,
and
wow.
They take off, and that's all you see.
Oh, wow.
Some say it may be a Bigfoot because they compare it to how big it is compared to the width of the road. It looks like a person, but a big person.
Oh, okay. I think I might have saw something like that, but I don't remember seeing a backup camera or anything. It was just some people that was on the road, and they see something and they have to back up, or it was something just coming right at them.
Yeah,
running.
That might have been I think there was a Dogman video. One of the most popular ones was something similar to what you were describing.
But to me, it looked like a guy dressed up in a monkey suit, because the guy was running like a human. Wouldn't be running like an ape, or whatever when these things run, because it just looked like a guy running. So I just kind of I don't know about that one. I don't think it's the same one you're telling me about though, because there was no camera.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a link to this. But yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot better if they would have turned around with their camera, videotaped it. But they were looking at the dash of the car, those little greens, and that's what they were filming. But it's pretty intriguing. Whatever this is, it was mad when it got up. I'd
imagine I'd be too. I guess smacked by a car, but
yeah,
even I guess Bigfoots don't know to look both ways. I guess
they ought to know by now.
You would think, yeah. Teach their kids to look both ways when they're crossing the street.
Yeah. I think snakes have learned that.
Yeah,
it just seemed like all my life during the hot months around this area, you couldn't go somewhere without seeing a snake crossing the road. Sometimes. But I haven't seen one in years crossing the roads.
Well, I heard that they lay on the road for warmth, to get warmed up. And I guess not, because they're going to get run over. That's why you don't see they've all been run over crossing the road.
a little bit, but maybe, like you say, maybe Bigfoots, they need to figure that road sign thing out.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. And and I've seen some where they reported crossing on really busy parts of the highway.
Yeah, I mean, like a 4-lane or something.
Yeah,
well, even bigger than just something come hopping across that. I've seen those videos. And
in the middle of the day, they'll do that or whatever. That's and you would think that people would catch that, on dash cam videos or something. Especially police. They have the dash cam video all the time, and they're driving around all over the place. So
I think they would catch them. Maybe they're not paying attention,
or they do, and they're just not saying anything.
Or maybe the Bigfoot had figured out the police part anyway.
Yeah, they hide from them, or they're ordered not to say anything. I don't know. But I know that it's a conspiracy that the government is hiding because they don't want people to know they're around for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah. Of course. There's a lot
I don't know. Maybe it's because they're so close to human, they'd have to give them rights and things like that, just like human beings have.
Yeah. I guess you're right. And it could cause a lot of problems starting with stuff like that.
Yeah. First, you have to give them the right to vote and all that, and then all hell breaks. I honestly don't know. But
the government does, even if they do know about it, and like we were talking about before, there's got to be hundreds of people that do know the truth. What are they being paid, or what are they being threatened with not to tell? And maybe the ones that do tell, nobody believes them, So
or it's just disinformation.
Yeah,
they want us to think there's a Bigfoot out there, and in reality, it could be something else.
Yeah,
it could be another. I don't know, but what else could it be? Really?
Yeah.
It has to be some sort of primate, some sort of ape, some sort of, or something, an evolutionary offshoot of man, some other type of creature, because back thousands of years ago we coexisted with different species.
So and they're so human-like in some ways, but I'm beginning to believe they're so intellectual and they're smart, but not in a human-like way. I'm thinking like in a common sense type way. If you can. I don't know how to explain that, but to me, that a Bigfoot to me is like everything combined in nature. It's the best of everything. It's the strength, the smell, the sight, their senses have got to be super duper. Their speed, the way they live, they're just like the perfect natural being. Whatever. So I just don't know. I would think if they thought more like humans, that they would kind of think, well, shoot, it kind of does look comfortable in that air conditioned room over there, and so I was tromping through these skeeters and these ticks all the time and these bushes. But maybe it's more of a common sense survival type intellect.
Yeah, that they've
But
evolved.
then
over
they
the
can do
years.
things with their hands that we can do because they have hands. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what it looks like. What leads us to believe it's more, they do more human type things, where they're supposed to leave signs and tree structures and some kind of even some say it's some sort of a alphabet that they use that they make with sticks on the ground and kind of looks like a Chinese symbols or
Oh, okay. So that's, I guess, just maybe their way of communicating with each other, or what they're migrating, they're leaving it for the next group of big feet to come by. Or big feet?
Yeah.
What? I don't know.
I think actually it's supposed to be Bigfoots is what they say.
Bigfoots. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
I guess maybe they're leaving a signal for them. This is the safe way to go, or this is the way we came. Follow us. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something, and that, and and it's sometimes it's like they're leaving the signs for the people to read, because some researchers they'll leave a sign similar to that, and they'll come back and see it rearranged a little bit, like the Bigfoot was saying, "Oh, you didn't spell that right." So
Yeah.
there's so much out there.
Yeah, that could be anything. I reckon they have to be, like I said, intelligent creatures, but like I said, they don't have the reasoning to or to know that we do have air conditioning in the houses or whatever.
Yeah,
they're modern conveniences, and they're not that well evolved.
right.
That,
or it's a different type
yeah,
involvement or something.
different.
Yeah,
something like that. That's an interesting concept. I haven't thought of that. They're more into nature. more of their surroundings. That's what they were.
Actually, I haven't read that yet. I may have made that up. Actually, I was just thinking about that today.
Well, yeah, but that's where ideas come from.
Makes sense, though.
Ideas come from. Just like we're here talking, bouncing ideas off each other, and you come up with stuff. That maybe other people didn't think about. So that's where people are listening to the show and they come up. Oh, that's right. Or let me expand on this or something. Give them something to think about.
Right.
And that's how discoveries are made.
Absolutely, just one leads to the other.
Yeah, two heads are better than one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And different ideas and that's what I like about this show. That's what I really want. I want people to think about things and open their minds and and just consider other things. Because I don't think that this is what we believe is the world and what we live in. I don't think it really is. I don't think it's really, the world is not what you think it is.
This is an illusion.
Yeah, and it's just what the media and the powers that be want you to believe it is. But a lot of stuff happens that we'll never know about. The media doesn't, what they report probably isn't even, most of the time isn't even correct. And they obviously can't report on everything that's going on.
Right.
So a lot of stuff goes on that we don't know about, and
lots of stuff. And stuff that you think we would know about. Like if you've been following the news recently, supposedly some kind of objects are hidden towards the earth. I've seen several, some say it's a debris type or something. You would think this would be important if it's anything to it, but some of the reports seem to be, legitimate.
Yeah.
Something's hidden this way. But like you said, how do we know, and who knows to tell us?
Well, you'd think that'd be a big deal if something was going to hit the earth, right? Or maybe they wouldn't want to tell us. It's like in the movie, they didn't want to tell us.
That's what I'm saying. Well, it would probably be just the opposite. Yeah, well, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Just
you can't do anything. Just make your peace, and that's it.
Yeah, sit back and watch the fireworks, and be done.
Yeah, and hope it comes quickly. Hope it comes quickly. That's all you can do.
Don't make your house payment that month.
No, they'd want me to. If I had a mortgage company, they don't care.
They be my luck. They be the ones to survive. And
yeah, exactly.
come get my house.
And all these computer hackers, and stuff that. Speaking of that, I was thinking, when you said that maybe they'd probably be the only ones to survive. All these computer hackers and these wiki guys and all that stuff that go in and break into government computer databases and stuff. I wish they'd go in and wipe out everybody's student loans and debts and things like that. Yeah. If they want to do something, they want to help us out, do that. Wipe out everybody's debts.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good idea.
With the big banks, they can afford to take a pasting.
That's right. That's right. Them hackers could use their talents for the good. They could be like a Robin Hood hacker.
That's right, and I'm thinking maybe those hackers are just, disinformation put out by the government. Oh yeah, we've been hacked and these are the people, this is what they get, but I think if there was really hackers like that were that good, one of them out of the thousands would go in and say, yeah, I'm going to delete everybody's student loans, or I'm going to delete everybody's MasterCard bill. Yeah. You'd think they would do that, but they don't. Just like sometimes they say, if you're psychic, what are the lottery numbers?
Yeah, there you
stuff
go.
like that. So I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about all these hackers because they seem to get all kinds of information that's just, it's just convenient for somebody. It's convenient for them to put that information out.
Yeah.
So like that Snowden guy, how convenient, he's all of a sudden got a hold of all this information, and he doesn't tell everything. He just leaks it out in bits and pieces, and just drips and drabs, when it's convenient.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and they are experts. Mm-hmm. That's their job, is to misinform folks.
Exactly. That's probably what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
it probably has its good points too. There's probably things that we just don't need to know. There's a lot of us like me and you that want to know, curious.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, just the Bigfoot UFO thing, we don't need to know that. It's just curiosity, and maybe.
Well, no, no, you don't need to know. Well, I'm sure there's some people that are just so passionate about it they really need to know.
Yeah,
it's just driving them crazy. It's not going to kill me if I never find out.
Yeah,
but
me either. But I do hope some kind of disclosure happens in my lifetime. It would be cool.
That'd be
find a Bigfoot body or UFO or alien or something. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I was about to say, well, it's probably coming soon, but people have been saying that for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming soon. Any day now we're gonna find out there's life on other planets, or there's aliens, or there's Bigfoot, or whatever.
Yeah.
They've been saying that for years. Any day now has been years coming.
Yeah, any day now. Yep. You're right, but one day, how they say.
Yeah, one of these days. Yeah.
One of these days. That's
exactly. We'll find out the truth, and until then, it keeps us busy.
Yeah,
looking around, and keeps us out of trouble. I'd like to think.
Yeah, it keeps the day exciting. It makes me, get up every day and want to see what's going on in the world. And see what we can discover that we haven't discovered, and what somebody's claiming. And there's, just look at the fascinating things in this world of ours.
Well, they're always discovering something, whether it be a new frog in the Amazon or whatever.
But then again, people are not getting excited about this stuff. It's just that's what I've said before. Is the government's way? They're just saturation of the media with information. Where when something does happen, it's going to be like no big deal,
and it's useless information that the media puts out. I don't care about some kids lemonade stand somewhere, whatever.
Yeah. What's this? The water they just found on Mars.
Well, that's interesting too.
That's a big deal, and everybody so. Back in the 70s, back in my day, if that'd been on the news, we'd all been freaking out.
Yeah.
It's just like, what if there was life? What if there was something more? And now it's all coming to pass. Okay, well, there's water. Well,
and they're going to eventually have to come clean with everything and say what they found. But the media, they tell you it's weird because I don't care about the Kardashians. I don't care about all these other people, these celebrities. I could care less about what they do, what they have for dinner, who they marry, who they do. I don't care. I don't care at all. I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather find out about what's on Mars or what's on the moon or what's in the oceans, what's the latest scientific discovery, what's going on, with that sort of thing, what's going on, even with I'm more concerned with what ISIS is doing over there overseas than what some celebrity had for lunch. I don't really care.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
But that's what the media tells you have to care about.
Yeah, and they won't tell us enough of that to as far as what's going on with ISIS and the the things over there overseas. It's like you mentioned, they tell us what they want us to hear, pretty much.
Right, exactly. And just whatever disinformation they want to tell you. But like what I heard was, especially about Bigfoot, that for whatever reason they don't want you to know. And especially I don't know if we talked about it on the last time you were on, Dale, but we were talking about the Mount St. Helens when it exploded up in Washington. Mm-hmm. And what I heard was that the government actually went to go pick up the Bigfoot bodies that were killed. They weren't concerned with the humans. Right. They were loading up the Bigfoot number of Bigfoots that were killed during that explosion, so people wouldn't find them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking from their point of view, I guess you'd want to get those out first because you're going to go in looking for the human bodies. But it's kind of gross to think that humans would do that. But you can see from their point of view why, if it needs to be that big a secret. But
but what's the reasoning? Why? That's what I don't understand. What does it hurt letting people know these things exist?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not like people are already looking for them, so they don't have to worry about people going out and hunting them.
Yeah, it ain't like you got to shut down the forestry industry, or you got to, make the United States area into a state park. You don't have to do all that. Just like you said, just go about your business just like you do it today.
Yeah.
Just know, okay, they're out there just like the wolves and the other things, and they should come forward and just tell you where they are territory. They could probably tell you things to avoid them and what to do if you do see them. And I mean, I'm sure they got their pamphlets and their documents
already printed out too.
Already printed out, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see any harm in it. It's not like these things. If these things don't want to be found, don't want to be seen, they're not. So it's not like people are going to do anything to them or they're going to become endangered or whatever. But
maybe it's maybe need to ask their permission. Same thing with. I was reading something, the UFO disclosure thing. Recently, and I thought the same thing about the Bigfoot. Is the government may disclose UFOs sooner or later, but it's like we're waiting for the government to do it, but maybe it's not the government we're waiting on. Maybe the aliens aren't ready because it ain't like they have to wait on us. If they want to disclose, they can land right in the White House yard. It ain't like they're going to say, "Hey, Mr. President, can we come tell y'all about us now?" All they have to do is land. So there's a reason. Unless the government unless they're working together and say, well, we'll just get it together and we'll plan us a day, or maybe the aliens will say, hey, we ain't ready yet, or the government are saying, hey, these folks ain't ready yet. I mean, if you look at it in that context, it makes it more confusing, but it's fun.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I would think that's true because if they're the aliens, they have all the technology, they have all the wherewithal, so they would have to say.
Yeah.
When the matter of their time and choosing, place of their time and choosing.
Yeah. Yeah. What if the government come on TV and say, hey, we're going to tell you they're here, they're coming. Hey, y'all guys, come on down. And the aliens say, nah.
I don't think so.
They're going to make a fool out of the government. We promised they were there. They said they were coming,
Yeah, but the government would have to have some sort of proof. If they have, contact with these creatures, they have to have some sort of video, some sort of proof, some sort of something to prove they're there.
Yeah, and that takes you back to the conspiracy thing in the body and the crash UFOs, and maybe they do. So, but like you say, when time comes, I would think that they'd have all their bases covered.
Yeah.
If you're going to disclose something that big and have all the answers out there and the DNA results and everything, even the Bigfoot. You just wonder what the Bigfoot could do as far as helping humans. Like other animals, they find cures of diseases for humans that help people. The Bigfoots, they could be just immune to cancer or something.
Yeah.
And the government may know this. I mean, the pharmaceutical agencies would have a fit over something like that.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many stories about
that's true.
The special things that they could do. And I mean, look what they eat and how they live, and I'm sure there's diseases and things that they get that we don't get, but I'm sure there's things that we get that they don't, just like other animals.
Yeah, and if they're so close to human, you're right. They maybe their blood is a cure for all kinds of things or whatever they have.
That would be my biggest concern. If I was a government official, I'd be wanting to investigate the Bigfoot thing to help humanity, if it was possible.
Well,
and I'm sure they know whether it is what's going on or what. I would guess I'm surely they do. Somebody does.
Somebody somewhere knows something.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And we're never going to get to it.
But there's probably a reason, supposedly, why they don't do it now. But maybe someday, that could come into play and just
or the other way around. Maybe they harbor some sort of disease and they don't want people near them. They don't want people looking for them. Or maybe there's a reason these Bigfoots know they come into contact with humans is deadly to humans, or maybe deadly to them, and that's why they're so good at hiding.
Yeah, maybe we're the ones with the disease, and they're so pure. Maybe the government don't want us to give them our diseases.
Yeah,
because they've got to be just a pure, just a pure like a bear or any kind of animal, just pure. They don't eat the man-made crap that we do and the artificial stuff. I mean, I guess they do once in a while if they grab a McDonald's bag out of the garbage can or something. Other than that, you would think that their health and their immune systems are just super duper.
Yeah, it's just something that. Yeah, that's weird. I hadn't considered that, and to think maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe they're avoiding us on purpose. Maybe they're the smart ones.
Probably so.
Could you imagine? Maybe they're very intelligent, highly evolved, and
and maybe like we were talking earlier, maybe they see us in the air-conditioned houses, and they're smart enough to say, that looks awful comfortable, but those things tear up, and they're suffering now because they don't have no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So maybe we should not get used to that stuff.
Exactly.
We'll just stay where we're at,
Yeah, and they just they're so well adapted to their environment, so they see no reason to change. They see no reason to go move into a house or whatever. That's the way they're
I don't guess
involved.
they're uncomfortable like we humans think we are. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm tired, it's raining, it's wet. They just like you say, they just do their thing. It's natural. It's the way it is.
Yeah,
just the way it is.
And as Walter Cronkite used to say, well, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. Oh Lord!
And
I wouldn't think you'd be old enough to remember Walter.
Oh, I remember him. Oh, yeah, I remember growing up watching Walter Cronkite. Absolutely. But it's coming up top of the hour, and Dale, thanks again for being with us. It's been Horizon Show. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I have enjoyed it immensely, and you're a great talk show host.
Wow, Dave, that was a wonderful, wonderful interview. What's he like to speak to? What's he like to meet?
Well, he's a really great individual, really nice person. He tells great stories. Of course, he's a great singer, and it was really enjoyable interviews. You can tell there's a lot of information there, a lot of great topics that we covered. I think that people are really going to enjoy it. He has been investigating it for quite a while.
Yeah, like if anybody wants to speak to Dale Boswell direct, simply go on Facebook and just type in Southern Sasquatch. Find him on Twitter at Team Tracker HQ. And if you want to watch all his videos, then go on YouTube and just look for his channel, which is simply called Dale Boswell. Now, he's a fascinating chap.
It's an absolute pleasure just to listen to him. You hear him, and it's a calming, soothing voice.
Exactly, and he's knowledgeable, and he's got some great ideas. And because he's getting a little older and a tough now, he doesn't care what he says. He's really happy just to say what he's got. If he's got something on his mind, he'll tell it. And we will have to have him back on. Now, for everybody that has joined us for part 1 and part 2 of our Bigfoot specials, thank you so much. We hope you've learned a little, maybe open your mind. If you haven't seen part 1, go and watch it. There's some great photos and some great interviews, as I said earlier, with Keith Bearden, the author of Forest Friends Odd and Night, and Kevin Malik of the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society. Now, myself and Dave have got lots more cool stuff coming up, so press subscribe. We have some of the best ghost photos in the world to show you. Dave has some of the best radio shows coming up, and myself and Ashley Shannon have some really cool B-movie, cult movie, video drone madness where we look at the weird and wonderful paranormal movies out there, all on TPCN, the Paranormal Chronicles Network. And it's really simple. All you have to do is press subscribe. Press subscribe. That's all you got to do, and when a new show appears, you'll get a notification and you can listen to it. Now, if you really enjoy our work, please help support us by sharing, liking, and commenting. Anything you like that we do, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. We're big guys, aren't we, Dave? We're not going to take any offense.
No, absolutely not. We're here. We love to hear all comments, whether good, bad. We're here to listen to everything. We appreciate all your comments and the time you take to listen to our shows, to listen to what we have to say. And we do hope we're here to open your minds and incite discussions about the paranormal or any other topic you'd like to discuss within the paranormal field.
So without further ado, he's back. He did this for us. We are so thrilled. This is Dale Boswell with his tune. It's called We Call Them Boogers in the South. It's lots of fun. And please get in touch with Dale. He's a great guy and he deserves it. And I'm really curious as well, just on a final note, what did you think of that footage? What did you think of that photo? Was it a bear? Was it an ape? Was it something more? Now keep safe, sleep tight, and over to you, Dale. We call them boogers in the South.
We call them boogers in the South. They whoop and holler and howl. They put outlaws on the prowl. We call them boogers in the South. Those Dixie Devils ain't no joke. Chunking stones and sticks at folks, stealing hogs and raising hell. Bigfoot ain't no Southern belle.
You have been listening to the Paranormal Chronicles Network. Do sleep well.